The movie opens with the hero, Jake. His house is in the middle of the forest. He sits a short distance away, relaxed. Suddenly, he hears a voice. When he turns around, he's shocked. A group of bad people is standing there. They are enemies of Jake's family. Jake immediately gets up and runs toward his house. Inside, Jake's father, who is lying down, hears the voices of the enemies. He steps outside to see what's happening and gets scared because the group is heading straight toward their home. By then, Jake reaches the house too. Without wasting any time, father and son pack their belongings. They leave through the back door, taking Jake's wife with them. Her condition is very bad. She is already weak and injured from a disease. Soon Jake's father realizes they cannot go far because his daughter-in-law is unable to run. Understanding the situation, he hides Jake and his wife inside a box nearby. The place is filthy, but they have no choice. Then Jake's father, holding a rod-like weapon, goes alone to fight the enemies. He attacks and kills 3 or 4 of them, but he cannot fight for long. They are too dangerous. All at once, they strike back and kill him mercilessly. Jake and his wife, hiding inside the box, watch everything helplessly. They cry in grief, but can do nothing. The enemies loot everything. They even take the fallen bag, which is very important to Jake and his wife because it contains her medicines. Without them, her infection will get worse. While they worry about the bag, the enemies carry away Jake's father's body as well. Seeing that makes their pain even heavier. After some time, Jake returns home with his wife. When he sees the destroyed condition of his house, he is heartbroken. Then, noticing his wife's wounds worsening, he becomes even more worried. Because of the injury, she develops a high fever and loses consciousness. Everywhere around them, he sees only loss, pain, and death, with no way out. Even in such a difficult time, Jake stays strong. First, he repairs a collapsed hut nearby using the wood around him. Then he places a water bottle for his wife and sets out to fight the enemies to get back the bag. It's winter. The enemies have taken all the warm clothes, so Jake is left only in a t-shirt and shorts. He shivers in the cold as he slowly moves forward. The freezing weather is unbearable, and since he hasn't eaten anything, weakness makes him collapse to the ground. Just when he's about to give up, he sees a boy. The sight gives him hope. Summoning courage, he forces himself back on his feet and follows the boy. Frightened, the boy runs, and Jake runs after him. The boy's house is nearby. He rushes inside and shuts the door. Jake, using his strength, breaks the door open and enters. Inside, there's an old man. The boy hides behind him in fear. Both of them shiver, not just from the cold but also from fear that Jake might harm them. But Jake only wants their warm clothes. He takes them and leaves without causing trouble. Following the enemy's footprints, Jake heads toward their location. He eventually reaches a new place and is shocked he finds his father's bones. The enemies had cooked and eaten his father's flesh. The sight shatters Jake's heart. He buries the bones with grief and swears revenge. Moving on, he spots a tent. Instead of going in directly, he throws a stone at it to check if anyone's inside. After making sure it's empty, he steps in and finds a matchbox, a knife, and a whistle. He takes them and continues forward. But soon he realizes he's circling back to the same place again and again. To find the enemy's hideout, he climbs a tall tree. His plan works. He sees smoke rising in the distance. Suddenly, he loses focus, slips, and falls from a great height. The noise draws wild dogs, who start rushing toward him. Jake runs for his life, but his injured leg from the fall makes him stumble and collapse. With pain, he crawls forward. Night falls as he struggles through the darkness. The fear of wild dogs keeps growing inside him. Using his wits, he gathers sticks and lights a fire. Holding one like a torch, he faces the dogs, keeping them at bay. They can't come near him and eventually run off. In this way, he narrowly saves his life. Exhausted, he sleeps there. By morning, when he wakes, the dogs are gone. He continues forward and soon notices blood flowing into the river. Curious, he traces it back and sees a woman washing bloody knives in the water. He doesn't approach her directly but watches from a distance. As she leaves, Jake quietly follows her with a stone in hand. The woman turns out to be one of the enemies. By following her, Jake discovers the enemy's hideout. When he arrives, he sees only the woman there. Not wanting to lose the chance, he sneaks inside. He notices bells tied to wires, set up as alarms. Carefully, he steps over them and goes in. There, he spots his bag. But when he checks inside, the medicines are missing. Immediately, he starts searching the house for them. Just then, the woman sees him, though he doesn't realize it. She sneaks up behind and attacks him. Jake fights back and a fierce struggle breaks out. Even though he hasn't eaten or drunk anything, he fights with strength. Grabbing a nearby stone, he smashes it against her head. She dies instantly. Jake then searches the cupboard for medicines. At that moment, he sees the enemies approaching. Quickly, he cleans the blood and removes all traces of the fight, making it look like nothing happened. To keep the woman's body hidden, he drags it outside. While pulling it, his axe slips and falls to the ground. Since the enemies are coming closer, he hides the body behind a tree and conceals himself nearby. From his hiding spot, he watches as the enemies arrive, dragging the boy along with them. Helpless, Jake feels heartbroken. He can only watch and do nothing. Soon, the enemies begin preparing to cook. That's when one of them notices the fallen axe. Suspicious, he thinks they might be in danger and rushes to tell the others about it. So the enemies start searching the entire area. Seeing this, Jake quickly covers the woman's body with leaves and lies down to hide himself. After some time, the enemies move away. Jake then crawls toward the house, planning to go inside. But outside the house, an injured enemy is sitting guard. Jake waits patiently until that man finally goes inside. Once the coast is clear, Jake sneaks in to rescue the boy. The enemies had tied him up and left him on the ground. When the boy sees Jake, he panics and screams, afraid Jake might hurt him. Jake whispers for him to stay quiet as he unties the ropes. But the boy keeps yelling. Hearing the noise, the enemies prepare to come back. Jake manages to free the boy just in time and helps him escape. Then Jake goes deeper inside the house and finds a wooden box with a lock on it. He's certain the medicines must be inside. He tries to break the lock but fails. Just then, he sees the enemies returning along with their leader. Jake quickly hides beneath the house, waiting silently. The leader notices the dirt marks on the box's lock and immediately suspects that someone has been there. He warns his men, and they all head toward the back side of the house. Jake realizes they might soon discover the woman's dead body and that his presence is no longer a secret. He stays hidden the entire day, from morning until night. That night, the enemies burn the woman's body. Meanwhile, Jake's wife regains consciousness back at their hut. When she doesn't see Jake, she tries to go outside, but the door is locked from the outside. She attempts to break it open, but her injuries make her too weak. She collapses as her condition worsens. Through the night, Jake remains in hiding. In the morning, while the enemies are asleep, he quietly sneaks inside the house again. He takes the key hanging around the leader's neck, unlocks the box, and finds the medicines exactly as he hoped. Grabbing them, he locks the box back, secures the house, and tries to escape quickly. But in his haste, he forgets about the wires with bells. As soon as he touches one, the bells ring loudly. The enemies wake up and chase after him. Jake runs desperately for his life, but in his weakened state, he cannot go far. They catch up to him. They strip Jake's clothes off, tie him with ropes, and lay him on the ground. Then they light a fire, as if preparing to cook him alive. Jake notices a whistle lying nearby. He grabs it and blows it hard. The wild dogs hear it and rush toward the enemies. Hearing the dogs' howls, the leader panics and flees with his men. Jake quickly cuts the rope with his knife, hides behind a tree, and avoids being seen by the dogs. He saves himself, puts on clothes, and escapes from there. The leader, being very clever, wounds one of his own men to distract the dogs. The pack chases the injured man, allowing the leader to move forward alone. His only focus now is to kill Jake. In the next scene, Jake, exhausted, rests against a tree. Suddenly, an enemy kicks him from behind, knocking him to the ground. Jake fights back bravely and kills him. Later, another enemy arrives and sees what looks like his friend dragging Jake's body away. Thinking Jake is captured, he approaches to help. But in reality, Jake had made a plan. He had dressed the dead enemy in his own clothes and put on the enemy's outfit himself. This confuses the others. Before the second enemy realizes what's happening, Jake ambushes him and kills him too. Jake continues moving forward and finally spots the leader standing at a distance. Without hesitation, Jake aims an arrow at him. The shot hits the leader's leg. As Jake walks closer, ready to fire another arrow, the leader admits defeat. He closes his eyes, prepared to die. But Jake's aim falters. Instead, Both men draw their knives and face each other, ready to fight. Before the battle begins, the sound of wild dogs echoes again. Hearing it, Jake runs away. The leader also tries to flee, but his leg wound slows him down. The dogs catch up to him, attack, and tear him apart. That's how Jake finally takes his revenge. With the enemies gone, Jake secures the medicines and rushes back home. After enduring so much, he arrives only to find the door open and his wife missing. Fearing the worst, he breaks down, thinking she has been eaten by the dogs or wolves. Sitting there in tears, he suddenly feels someone behind him. It's his wife, alive. She had prayed for her survival and managed to hold on. Overjoyed to be together and alive, they embrace. This is how the movie ends. Thank you for watching our movie recap. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing for more great content. Your support means a lot to us. Have a wonderful day.